The road stretched on, a ribbon of gray disappearing into the horizon. Nora walked alone, the silence of the path echoing the quiet turmoil in her heart. Each step felt heavy, burdened by the feeling of being unseen, her efforts unnoticed, her quiet acts of faith dissolving into the air like morning mist. She had poured her heart into her community, offered kindness when none was returned, and held on to her beliefs when it felt like she was the only one. But now, weariness was a constant companion, and the question, does any of it matter, played on a loop in her mind. The journey felt long, and her destination, once so clear, was now shrouded in doubt. Was she walking in the right direction? Was anyone even watching? She pulled her shawl tighter, a flimsy shield against the chill that wasn't just in the air. As she trudged on, her gaze fixed on the cracked pavement, she sensed a presence. It wasn't sudden or alarming, more like a gradual awareness, as if someone had been there all along. She lifted her head and saw him. An older man, walking in stride with her, just a few feet away. His hair was the color of snow, and his face was etched with lines that spoke not of hardship, but of a deep, abiding peace. He moved with a quiet grace, his steps making no sound on the gravelly shoulder of the road. In his hand, he carried a small, tightly wound scroll, its edges worn as if from countless journeys. He didn't look at her, but kept his eyes on the road ahead, a silent companion on her solitary walk. A strange sense of calm began to settle over Nora. The man's presence wasn't intrusive, it was comforting, like a steady lighthouse in a stormy sea. He didn't ask where she was going or why she was alone. He simply walked. His silence was profound, not empty. It was a silence that listened, that understood the unspoken questions weighing on her soul. It felt as if he was more than just a fellow traveler who happened to be on the same road. He felt like a guardian, a guide who had appeared at the precise moment her own sense of direction had begun to fail her. For miles, they walked like this, two figures against a vast, indifferent landscape, yet Nora no longer felt alone. The weight on her shoulders seemed to lift, ever so slightly, with each synchronized step. Just as the sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows across the path, the man finally turned his head. His eyes, clear and full of a light that seemed to come from within, met hers. His voice, when he spoke, was not loud, but it resonated with a gentle authority that commanded her full attention. "Nora," he said, her name sounding both familiar and sacred on his lips. "I have been watching you. I have seen your quiet service, your unwavering hope when you felt hopeless. Your path is not yet finished." His words were not a reprimand, but a reassurance. It was a confirmation that she had, in fact, been seen all along. The breath she didn't realize she was holding escaped in a quiet sigh. Someone had seen. The man stopped walking, and so did she. He held up the small scroll he had been carrying. With practiced, gentle fingers, he unrolled it. Nora leaned in, her curiosity piqued. It wasn't a map or a decree. It was a list of names, written in a simple, elegant script. They were names she didn't recognize, but she somehow understood who they were. These were the quiet ones, the faithful, the ones who served without fanfare, whose good deeds were known only to a few, or perhaps to no one at all. They were the ones who kept the light of hope burning in forgotten corners of the world. And there, near the bottom of the long, long list, was her own name, Nora. She stared at it, her heart pounding in her chest. She was on the list. A wave of understanding washed over her. This was no ordinary traveler. The way he appeared from nowhere, the peaceful authority in his voice, the celestial knowledge he seemed to possess. He was an angel, a messenger sent to find her on this lonely road. He was visible only to her, a private miracle meant for a weary heart. She looked from the scroll back to his face, and he simply smiled, a knowing, gentle smile that confirmed everything. All her unseen moments, all her private prayers, all her acts of kindness that she thought had vanished without a trace, they had been recorded. They mattered. They were woven into a tapestry far grander than she could have ever imagined. Tears welled in her eyes, not of sadness, but of overwhelming gratitude and relief. They reached a crossroads where her path diverged from the main road. It was the way she needed to go to return home. The stranger paused, turning to face her fully. He offered her the scroll. As her fingers brushed against the ancient parchment, she felt a warmth spread through her. "This is for you," he said. Do not forget. And then, as quickly and quietly as he had appeared, he was gone. He didn't walk away or fade into the distance. One moment he was there, a solid, comforting presence, and the next, only the empty road and the whispering wind remained. Nora stood frozen for a moment, clutching the scroll to her chest, the air still seeming to vibrate with his presence. She was alone again, but everything was different. Her gaze fell to the scroll in her hands. She unrolled it once more, her eyes immediately finding her name. But it had changed. Where before it had been written in the same simple ink as the others, her name now shimmered, inscribed in a brilliant, golden light that seemed to pulse with life. It stood out, not as a mark of superiority, but as a sign of personal encouragement, a beacon for her own journey. Below the list of names, a new line of text had appeared, also in shimmering gold. She read the words aloud, her voice trembling slightly. Blessed are those who walk faithfully, even when unseen. The words settled deep within her spirit, a divine promise, a truth to anchor her soul for all the days to come. Nora rolled the precious scroll carefully and tucked it safely away. When she looked up, the road ahead no longer seemed daunting or lonely. The weariness that had clung to her like a heavy cloak had vanished, replaced by a profound and lasting peace. She took a step, and then another, her stride now light and purposeful. She knew she might still face moments of doubt, that her acts of kindness might still go unnoticed by the world. But it no longer mattered. She was not walking for the applause of others. She was walking for an audience of one. Her journey was seen, her faithfulness was recorded, and her path was blessed. With a renewed spirit and a heart full of peace, Nora continued on her way, her face turned toward home, her soul alight with the glow of golden ink. Thanks for watching our story today. If this message of faith and perseverance resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more uplifting content. Remember, your journey is seen and your path is important. We'll see you in the next video.